Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our April Coffee and Conversation. My name is Jen Woodford. I'm part of the team here at Rochester Area Foundation. And today we have one of our monthly coffee and conversation sessions focused on the collaborative efforts of local organizations aimed at increasing access to food resources. And we'll hear from our local food bank, as well as other meal programs and resources that address food insecurity in our community. As you've heard probably in the news, the need is higher than ever. The landscape for funding and resources is uncertain, I think is maybe a kind way to say it. And so how we'll learn about how these organizations are navigating that huge increase along with uncertain funding sources. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. Like we do with every coffee and conversation, we encourage questions. We know you will have some, but we would love for you to put them in the chat. We will just gather them all up so that we have time for all of our speakers. But then at the end, we will have time for Q&A, and we will go through questions then. So please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We'd love to answer them and love to hear from you and have that discussion. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. Our first presenter this morning is Khadija Ali, co-founder and executive director of Pamoja Women, a local nonprofit dedicated to empowering East African women and girls and their families. Born in Canada, Khadija moved to Rochester during her junior year of high school to support her grandparents, who had relocated from Africa and were facing language barriers. Khadija holds a Bachelor of Science in Public Health from Winona State University. And in 2022, Khadijah's significant contributions to the community were recognized when she received the Maud Finch Award from the United Way of Olmsted County. Please welcome Khadija Ali. Good morning, Khadija.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. I'm Khadija Ali, and I'm the Executive Director of Pamoja Women. Like Jennifer shared, we are program-based, resource-based nonprofit organization here in Rochester that caters to East African women and their families. We have multiple programs such as women's health, after-school programming that we run from one of the elementary schools here in Rochester, and also just the regular programs we run at Pamoja site. And to top it off, we added food pantry this past 2 years, and it has been an amazing for the community because of all the things that has been going on in the community, meaning with like language barriers, transportation barriers, and everything else with comes with food insecurity. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and just to talk a little bit about Pamoja Women's food pantry. We started this because we've noticed, even though our amazing food bank here, Channel One is here, a lot of people were hesitant to go, or because of language barrier being the biggest one, and then just the overall cultural aspect of the food. I have talked to multiple families saying that can we make sure that we can make things halal because of the religion wise. And Pamoja Pantry basically started being born. We started as a pilot, a food pantry from Channel One, and then we kind of just shifted into our own food pantry that is getting supported by grants, donations, and of course our food bank here, Channel One. And we cater, basically we have twice a month that we run Pamoja's food pantry, and we see about 305 to 250 families. The least amount or the smallest amount of family I would see in a day, it would be around 250 families. And that is a lot because, with space being issue, we keep growing and growing. And, and just the fact that we would run only twice a month, just Tuesdays from our site. Yeah. And one thing that I always love to hear from people is that, even though we're a nonprofit, we're also volunteer-based nonprofit. So a lot of our volunteers come from all walks of life, and the people we're serving are coming from all walks of life. So at a day at the food pantry, we would have maybe 6 volunteers, and all 6 of them would be speaking different languages, because that's the type of families that we would see. So it would not ever be like, oh, I can't understand you, hold on, I would have to get somebody. But no, it would be like, so and so on, please cater to this person. And that is something that Pamoja is so happy that we have in our resources, that we can just be like, we'll just keep adding to it. And people actually come and say, I speak this language, do you need help with this? So our volunteers are the ones that are like coming to us saying, train me, what can I do? How can I help? And it doesn't always have to be like, here's food, but that part, the fact that they're with us for those couple of hours and helping us, and also navigating. Some of them are just there standing and waiting for someone who is in need of ride. So a lot of the time, transportation is the biggest issue that we see, because families are either the elderly cannot come, and if they do come, they have to like get rides from either like RPS, not RPS, but Rochester Public buses. And that means that you will have to be there and wait for that bus to come. So we always have somebody ready. As soon as they're done shopping, then someone will take them back home. And also we have Hawthorne, which is right next to us. And a lot of people walk from there. A lot of the people with language barriers walk and then just say, I can't carry this because I'll be in school all day. So can somebody help me deliver this at home? So that's another good thing that we are able and fortunate to provide for the families. And also just making sure that, every time with Pamoja, is like all the women that we serve, a lot of the women go through hardship. So if there's a divorce that happens in the family, because of culture, that means that the woman is the one that has to move out of the home and either go back to her family's home or find a shelter. So they come to us. First thing that they do is they come to Pamoja and they say, okay, I have never worked in my life since I got married and had kids. What can you help me with? So then we give them all the resources. And a lot of the times when we send them to the county, it takes time. So the immediate thing that Pamoja does is like, okay, who do you know? Who can you stay with? Or they just come start volunteering for Pamoja and get to know people while they're with us. And that's how they kind of build things and kind of go on their own. We try to find them a job or send them to other resources and other organizations that we partner up with in Rochester to kind of help them out with, all the navigation of employment or underemployment, all of the things that are going on right now. Yeah.
Thank you, Khadija. And I know you have to leave us a little bit early. So I'll ask you, I'll jump in and just ask you one question. So since you've opened the food pantry and added that service to all that Pamoja Women does under your leadership and with a group of incredible volunteers, talk about just a little bit the increased need you've seen since you opened the doors until this month's food pantry days.
I don't even know where to start. We could go on for hours talking about this. There's abundance of resources available in Rochester, but a lot of the times within the community, I always come back to this, is that not knowing where things are. So what happens here at Pamoja is that, okay, you need housing, here's where you go. But we just don't give them the resources and just say, here's the application, go with it. We actually hold their hands to the finish. So that's the thing that with us, Pamoja, that works for us, is that people, when they come to us and they tell us their stories of how they were and where they are right now and how they come back to Pamoja and volunteer because they started with us. So a lot of the women say, oh my goodness, you have no idea what you have done for me, from having cottage licenses so they can cook and they can make that money for their families, to having doula licenses. It's just so many opportunities that we bring them. And then that itself is the increase, because we are a culture of word of mouth. So if 3 women get help from Pamoja, they are telling 30 more women. And so that just keeps increasing and increasing. And that's why I feel like the power of all this is through our partnerships that we have with everybody.
Thank you, Khadija, for all that, just for being here today, but for all that Pamoja Women does in the community.
You.
And I've seen and heard so much about the partnerships and the relationships that are built. And like you said, from start to finish in a process.
Yeah.
And that's so important when you don't know what's happening. Your life has changed. And providing food is obviously a key resource. And we thank you for that. So
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
come together with food. That is our primary language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, we will meet and hear from Pastor Tope Dusumu, who serves as the Executive Director of LifeGate Services, a nonprofit organization committed to combating food insecurity and promoting wealth and health and wellness. Pastor Tope holds a master's degree in social work from Augsburg University. And in addition to his leadership at LifeGate Services, Pastor Dosumu serves as the pastor of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Chosen Generation Parish here in Rochester. He is happily married to Pastor Deo Dosumu, and together they are blessed with children. Welcome, Pastor Tope. We're excited to learn more about your work at LifeGate.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you, Ellen, for reaching out and for inviting LifeGate to be at this breakfast coffee conversation. I'm glad that we have so many people also here today. Thank you for taking your time to join us. As Jennifer has rightly introduced me, I'm the Executive Director of LifeGate Services. I also serve as a pastor in the local church here. I'm an immigrant myself. I moved in from Nigeria precisely about 21 years ago and moved into Rochester about 20 years ago. My passion for making sure that people have enough to eat, enough to take care of them, drives me into this work. And I don't just want to be someone who stay within the wall of my church. I want to get out there and make a difference in the life of as many people in the community. So I'm going to be sharing my screen to just share a little bit about LifeGate Services. And joining me this morning also is our outreach coordinator, Tinosa Hila. He's also here. Thank you. If you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen, please?
We can see it. You're good to go.
All right. Thank you. So our mission statement is LifeGate is touching lives, restoring hope. And LifeGate Services, we do a couple of programs. Our flagship service in the community is the Food Shelf Operation. But besides that, we do a couple of other programs. So we'd have a program to reach our immigrant community through community engagement. We work with Minnesota Department of Health, Minnesota Department of Human Services, Minnesota Department of Revenue. So we are kind of a one-stop shop, just like Khadija also share with us. So as people walk through the door, we not only provide food for them, we also connect them with resources. But in this presentation, I'm just going to be focusing more on the food insecurity that we address as a common, as an organization. So LifeGate Services established in 2014. Our target demography is seniors, people with disability, low-income families, and we also, through our cultural food program, we provide food to immigrant community, especially African immigrant population. So we provide food that are relevant to them, food that they can eat, food that makes them feel as if home away from home. So we do provide food like gari, rice, plantain, palm oil, beans, So these are staple food that are culturally relevant to them. And our food pantry opens twice a month. That is first and third Saturdays of the month, and from 10 a.m. to noon. Then we also have a mobile food pantry that is every third Saturday of the month. So we provide service to average of 360 household each month, and each month we serve household, but we all know that within an household is another average of like 4 people in the family. So we consistently provide that. So how can you get involved with LifeGate services and donate food items, non-perishable food? We serve these at our food shelf. We have last year in that picture, we have people from KTTC coming to volunteer during their week of volunteering at LifeGate services. So we do have that opportunity also to volunteer your time. Monetary donation, of course, without funding, we cannot sustain our program. So please, we want to plead with us. Money is never enough when it comes to food shelf. It's everyday thing. So we will appreciate that. Then become a partner. We do have a partnership with great organization in the community, starting with Channel One Food Bank, where we started out as a satellite site for them. That was in 2014. And I think we went as an agency in 2019. So they're like the mother organization that kind of put us in this well-established footing to be able to run the food shelf. So those opportunities are there to donate food, to also give monetarily, to be partner, to volunteer. There are so many opportunities. Then community impact, working with other members of the Olmsted County Food Security Coalition, Channel One, and other organizations to address food insecurity amplifies our community work. I know Thomas is in this platform as well. Khadija is here. We are all part of this coalition, Olmsted County Food Security Coalition. And with the coalition, we have the opportunity to network, to share ideas, and also to address issues that we need to advocate for. As Jennifer mentioned, this is a hard time for so many families. We have in our food shelves a lot of families coming in, looking forward to receive, staple foods, to receive eggs, to receive meat, but unfortunately, we are running for the past maybe 1 or 2 months now. We have not been able to have eggs delivered to our food shelf from USDA, where normally we get these things for. That means we have to go out and buy those items. So, but through this coalition, we share ideas. If there are information where we could get supplies, or maybe want to advocate for a particular cause, we come together to do that. Then health partnership. LifeGate Services is a community hub, and we have the opportunity to also, as people come in to be served, as shoppers come in to be served, we also provide them with basic health assessment that's been done through a partnership with Bridges Health of Winona State University. We also have other partnership with Mayo Clinic. We have partnership with United Ways. As earlier mentioned, we collaborate with Minnesota Department of Health and Department of Human Services, just to provide service for the people that we serve. I also want us to kind of look at these in that version, and especially for those of us that we are on this platform. Every food chef does not only serve food. We do more than that. We connect people to resources. We advocate for them. Some just come in just to hang out. You can't believe that. They just come in to hang out, to gist, to smile, and then go back home. It's a place where people get so many things beyond the food that is being provided. So these are email address, our website, our phone number, and let me just believe it. And our Thanksgiving program, like I said, we have a couple of programs outside our normal food chef time. We do have annual Thanksgiving turkey giveaway. This year is our 3rd year of doing that. Then we have our annual health fair as well. Let me see if we can quickly see this. All right. Let's skip that.
Does it look like it's gonna play Pastor Tope or switch?
All right, thank you. I know I'm out of time. I'm just about 10 minutes plus. So that's holistically, that's what we do. And sharing community, impactful stories. We have immigrant families, especially there's one that came in from Ghana and brought in the child to Mayo Clinic to receive care. And they have challenge with food, and someone give them information about LifeGate services. So they came and they were able to get the food that is relevant to them. And yeah, that's an impact story that I just want to quickly share. Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate the time to be able to share what we do in the community with us.
Thank you so much, and for sharing more about not just your direct work with feeding people, where they're at, what they're looking for, what they're familiar with, and what's comfortable to them. As Khadija said earlier, food is community. And that's clear in your work and in Pamoja Women's work as well. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. We will introduce our next speaker, Thomas Hayden.
Just trying to.
Oh.
Please, can you help on your end to?
We still see your screen.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I can do it for you. There we go.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thomas is the Director of Aging Services at Family Service Rochester. I joked earlier, he's a newbie to our community. He's been here a year, so he hasn't even been all the way through everything at FSR yet once. But welcome, Thomas. He's passionate about supporting the independence of older adults, care partners, and people with disabilities in the community, and is steadfast in his efforts to elevate lives through impactful services. The drive to serve is evident From his prior experience directing programs and community services that provide innovative approaches to cognitive change and dementia, teaching at the university level, and serving on boards that oversaw state and regional associations, to his current role leading the FSR Aging Services team in program development, services, and the coordination of collaborative partnerships. As an experienced board-certified music therapist with a Master's of Public Health from Yale University, Thomas brings a dynamic perspective to serving the community. This perspective and passion are embraced and encapsulated by Aging Services at FSR, which provides services such as caregiver support, respite care, chore services, Meals on Wheels, FSR Fresh, their senior cafe, home safety checks, and older adult mental health. Welcome, Thomas. We're so happy you joined us this morning.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. All right. Is it showing up
Yes.
on your end? Yes. Okay,
Yes.
great. All right. Well, thank you. And thank you all for the opportunity to share about our food security programs. Brief overview of Family Service Rochester. As I've been here about 9 months, and I feel like I'm still constantly learning about the different services that we're providing, because it's vast. So a community-based organization providing mental health, senior independence, family stability, and child well-being services. We listen to what people need, and together we build better lives. And that's the formation of, basically all the work that we do at FSR. It's looking at what are the needs in the community and how can we meet them. And so our programs form around that basis as the core. So there's 4 service branches. I'll really kind of focus in a little bit on the 3. So mental health, professionals partner with individuals, couples, and families across the lifespan to provide counseling services. Also providing counseling services within school systems and whatnot for children. Family stability and child well-being programs that engage families in partnership to enhance child and family safety, mental health, and well-being. And this upcoming spring, our new Family Resource Center is also opening. So that's a very exciting thing happening in the community. Aging Services, which I'm leading as the director, and provides supportive services to older adults, persons with disabilities, and caregivers to live safely in the homes and the neighborhoods they live. And then our community building efforts, and so initiatives so age-friendly and things like that fall under community building. So Aging Services, these are kind of the main 3 branches, or 4 really, with FSR Fresh. We provide home and community-based services, which are a value to the people we serve and a value to the community as a whole, enhancing quality of life, cost-effective. It's cost-effective for the community and for the people that we're serving, reducing the number of hospitalizations, personalized care and services, and support for caregivers, care partners, and care recipients. So our Neighbors Helping Neighbors program, I'm not going to read off everything we do, but there's a lot of different services we provide through this. And it's throughout Southeast Minnesota, but a variety of services. You might have seen, providing snow removal services or chore and homemaker services, transportation services. It's a long list. So jumping into our nutritious food security, and I like to emphasize the nutritious food security aspect of it, because it's not just food security, but we want to make sure people have nutritious food. It's not just getting food, but it's getting healthy food. And so at FSR, through Aging Services, we provide Meals on Wheels, and that's hot, nutritious home delivered meals, and with a friendly visit 7 days a week. And that's only available through FSR. That's only available in Rochester. It's a unique program in that it's hot meals 7 days a week, which is unique to all of that's not common across the nation. Looking at it also follows a sliding scale, which is unique and something that's helpful right now during this time when funding options are uncertain. Our FSR Fresh, and it's also, I would say, with Meals on Wheels, it's more than just a meal, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But very much so, it's a meal, but it's that friendly, consistent visit. As about 71% of the people that we serve live alone. And so that friendly visitor may be the only person that's coming by, and having that daily check and daily, just someone that knows you is incredibly important. And so the more than just a meal is very true. FSR Fresh, so we provide fresh produce, meats, baked goods, and dairy. That is weekly home delivery of fresh food boxes, and that's to people who are 150% or below the poverty level. And so that's a free program that we provide, run by volunteers as well. And then our Senior Cafe, which is a congregate dining program. And so it's where hot, nutritious group dining. We have different activities that happen. We also have activities that are offered after the dining so that we can continue to build those social connections. And we have that 2 days a week in Rochester and on Wednesdays in Byron. Thank you. So I'll jump into some of the questions now too.
Well,
So-
if it's okay, we'll hold on questions.
I mean, not questions, sorry. The
Oh,
questions
got it. Okay.
Those points, I'm not
I
asking.
didn't want people to start unmuting themselves and asking all their questions, but yes.
Yeah, no.
Thank
To
you.
to highlights and to those things.
Perfect. Thank you.
So looking at the Food Coalition, that's something that Pastor Tope talked about a little bit, and Khadija and Pastor Tope are, I'd say, leaders in that initiative in their roles. That's a part of bringing Olmsted County residents. That the main goal and vision of that program is that all Olmsted County residents are food secure, and a major part of that process is bringing these groups and providers in the community and community members to be a part of this group to work towards that goal, towards that vision. And that we're able to, the mission that for it is the Olmsted County Food Security Coalition builds trusted relationships among communities and organizations to redesign a just food system. So those are some main goals that fall within that. And some of the benefits, as I said before, what came up is that I've been at FSR. I'm a new resident to Minnesota, really. And I've been here about 9 months, and there are some great programs in the way that people come together and connect, and different providers come together. Rochester is very unique, especially from where I came from in Connecticut, in that action of really working together. And the Food Coalition, the things that are shared and the approaches and the programs that people are providing and the discussions in that space help to guide decisions and needs and addressing different areas. Whether it's culturally appropriate food and the need for that to happen, which Khadija and Pastor Tope do in a wonderful way. And so being able to, while also sharing, what are the approaches, how do we look at that? And Channel One, which we'll speak later on, also plays a large role in that. That's the food bank. So we're pulling food from those sources. With our FSR Fresh program, we get food. We order food through Channel One, as well as receiving donations from different sources in the community, which help with that process and help in delivering those food boxes. I would say the main areas that I'm looking at within the community right now in Minnesota as a whole, and Minnesota for the first time in 2025 has more people over 65 and older than school-age children. So we've just hit this tipping point where the population size is growing, and that's going to have ramifications across the community in different ways. from food to housing to services to the things that are needed. And looking at when someone's on a set income, when you see these food prices growing, that means, and the housing prices growing, that's going to continue to constrain and food security. If you're looking at paying for your rent or paying for your food, buying your food, finding ways that we're able to help support that. So I'd say financial, but also systematically, there are areas that are system-wide changes that we're going to have to change. In addition to the growing population of 65 and older, the largest growing homeless population is 55 and older. And so right now, that's the largest growing population. So we have this combination of all these things happening at the same time that will continue to strain the communities if we don't start to address it. And by addressing it, we can help those who are in that, who fall within those needs, while also it helps support the community as a whole. It will be better for everyone. With Meals on Wheels, I would say, in looking at some stories that we've come across, one of the most common is falls. So when where it's more than just a meal, there have been multiple occasions where the volunteer that's going out to deliver the food that knows, let's say, we could say Joan Smith, and every time this person goes out to see Joan Smith, they realize one day that they're not coming to the door and they don't have their friendly conversation. Then they go back and they'll knock on the door, they'll check, they'll look in, because they know something's off. And it has not been one of the most, I'd say, where more than just a meal falls into play is where that volunteer is then calling 911. And who knows when that person would be seen, especially given that 71% of the people that we provide Meals on Wheels to live alone. And so definitely more than just a meal and providing that service in the community. Yeah, and with FSR Fresh and congregate dining, providing those opportunities for connection, and where that may be the only time in the week that someone gets a ride to come and socializes, and then they stay afterwards to continue those friendships. And so we see that happening, and we design different programs around. So we have these congregate dining, which STEMCAC helps us. STEMCAC provides the meals for that, and we provide the space and the engaging activities with that. And those are some beautiful partnerships that happen within the community, and wanting to bring that forward. There you go.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yep.
The theme of partnerships continues. And we'll hear from Brooke from Channel One now, but I just want to say for years now, a lot of years, I worked at Channel One for 9 years, and so I have a fair amount of knowledge about the partners in our community, although they've changed a lot since I've been gone. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the fact that how we feed people in our community, how we care for and about each other, specifically through food, is a giant puzzle. And there are so many pieces to the puzzle, and each one is important. And so I want to thank each of you that are here today for your piece of the puzzle, because for different people, they are very important, depending on, again, where you are in the puzzle. But the puzzle only works and is only complete when they're all working together. So I have the pleasure of introducing our last speaker for today before we go into some question and answer time. But Brooke Sueda with Channel One Regional Food Bank. Brooke has worked in the nonprofit sector for over 6 years with a focus on fundraising and community engagement. She currently works as the annual campaign manager for Channel One Regional Food Bank. As someone who needed resources like Channel One growing up, Brooke is motivated to work hard so others can benefit from necessary programs. Welcome, Brooke. Thank you for sharing with us this morning.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. I will just dive right in here and start out with just talking a little bit about Channel One and who we are. So at Channel One Regional Food Bank, our mission is to strengthen food access and build healthy communities with a vision that everyone in our region is food secure. We started in 1980. We're actually celebrating our 45th year anniversary this year. But we started as just a tiny little co-op that provided food to seniors in Olmsted County. And we've grown to be the second largest hunger relief organization in Minnesota. And one of the things that we find most common is that not everyone knows the difference between a food bank and a food shelf. So I'd like to talk a little bit about what those differences are. So generally, a food bank acts as a regional hub. We source food from manufacturers, farmers, retailers, and government sources. And then we're able to break them down and distribute them to partnering food shelves, pantries, and programs. One of the benefits of having a food bank is that we can also source mass quantities of food and then repackage them down into more standard portions so that they can actually be utilized by individuals. One of our favorite volunteer programs is the repacking. We get huge boxes, almost as tall as I am, that are filled to the brim with cereal in one bag. So that one giant bag of cereal is then broken down into 1 pound bags that then go to the food shelves and pantries. And then a food shelf or pantry then provides access to food directly to those experiencing food insecurity. So what makes Channel One unique is that we act as both. It's pretty rare, but we are a food bank that also has an on-site food shelf. We have 125 other programs that we have heard from, a few today, and we support within our 14 county region, 13 counties in Minnesota, and then La Crosse County in Wisconsin. Channel One is also a partner food bank of Feeding America, which is a national network that has 200 food banks from across the country. And being a partner with Feeding America allows us to access much more surplus food and grocery donations that we're able to collect, store, and redistribute to those in need. And because we're a Feeding America food bank, we're held to really high standards and compliance. And that helps us build trust with the manufacturers, who can feel more confident that the donations that they give to us of food will be broken down and distributed properly. Other programs that we have mobile pantries to bring food to those who have transportation barriers, often in rural communities. We have CSFP, which is our Commodity Supplemental Food Program, and that provides shelf-stable boxes of food to seniors. And Kitchen Coalition, which is our newest program, and it works with local restaurants and caterers to create prepared meals using the food bank's resources. And then we partner with distribution sites to get those prepared meals to neighbors who might have barriers to cooking. Just a little bit about what impact we've had in the last year. We distributed 18.9 million pounds of food. And to put that number in a bit of perspective, that's up about 35% from the 13.9 million pounds in 2023. And we are seeing just continual increasing of that number. We're expected to go over it again this year. If we're talking about the biggest need right now to help combat the food insecurity in our area, it might be cliche for most nonprofits to say this, but it's additional funding. We're spending more money on food right now than we ever have before. There's unfortunately a rapid decline in the food we normally get. So manufacturers, they have tighter budgets now too, and are also working constantly to become more efficient. So they have less to donate. The government food assistance programs are being drastically cut, and we're starting to feel that impact. You know, we do our best to combat this gap, and we have a retail rescue program that rescues about 2 million pounds of food last year. And we're able to go to local grocery stores and things like that and collect the food And then usually within that same day, that food that would have gone into the garbage but was perfectly fine is now able to go to people that needed it. Many essentials we still purchase because milk, eggs, proteins, fresh produce are the top requested items, and unfortunately also some of the most expensive. But we know that getting those into the hands of people who are food insecure rather than just the shelf stable typical things is much more impactful for them. So we do our best to purchase that food when we need to fill the gap. We're also serving far more people than we ever have before. Last year, we saw almost 400,000 visits in our region, which is up 32% from 2023. So the combination of less food donations and government assistance and a drastic rise in the number of neighbors needing support, we're really focused on increasing and diversifying our funding sources so that we can keep up with the demand. And then a few impact stories that we have. I have the pleasure of actually going to the food shelf, on-site food shelf once a week to chat with some of the people who are there. And I have talked with someone that we call George. George worked in catering and first became aware of Channel One when the catering company he worked for donated their excess prepared food. And then 5 years ago, he suffered a back injury. He had 2 herniated discs and a tear in his spine. This kept him from working, and even though he applied for disability, he was denied. So now his family with 4 children has only the income from his wife to support them. So to help her paycheck stretch farther, they've been coming to the Channel One food shelf for 4 years. And when we asked him about the impact of being able to visit every week that they can at Channel One Food Shelf, George said that it takes a lot off his wife. We really use this like our grocery shopping. We use everything we can. And that's really, I think, an impactful moment that this is some people's grocery shopping. This is what they use to feed their family for the week. And I think it's really important that we are able to provide the multiple different types of food. Like I said, not just the pantry staples that people can use to actually make the meals that they need for the week. I also have a second story that I want to share real quick. Someone that I talked to, we'll call her Gail, first visited Channel One Food Shelf about 40 years ago. When she and her husband divorced back then, she found herself in need of support. And after her divorce, she ended up living in a housing development where there were other people there that came to Channel One, and they were able to help make her aware and guide her to come to us back then 40 years ago, right when we had first started. Then she was able to improve herself and her situation, and she didn't visit us for over 30 years. But recently, her child and grandchild had to move back home due to financial situations. And both her and her husband are retired now. So she knew she could come back to Channel One for help again. Her favorite things to take home are proteins, milk, and things that can stretch. Because again, a lot of people use Channel One Food Shelf as their grocery store. So we at Channel One Food Shelf are very grateful to be able to provide these services to the community. We know how important it is. Food is kind of an essential to living. And so when we're able to make sure that people that need it are able to find it easily and without too many constraints on getting it, they are able to focus their income and their extra attention to things that will help improve their lives and hopefully get to the point where they don't need our services anymore. So thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to any questions y'all might have.
Thank you for sharing with us. You've talked a little bit, Brooke, about the increased need, and I know we've seen a lot in the news about that. Can you give just a quick update on disruption in funding? Because that seems to change very quickly right now.
Yes. So thankfully we are pretty diversified in our funding. You know, we don't have all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak. We have seen disruption in our federal funding. We, again, on a day-to-day are just kind of kept on our toes and not sure exactly what to expect. TFAP, the federal food assistance program, was cut pretty drastically, and we are starting to feel that. We thankfully have seen a pretty good response from the community. People are reaching out to us and saying, what do you guys need? And making larger donations than they have in the past. And I think people are really understanding that this isn't a wait and see anymore. We're already feeling the impact of that lower funding. So we are grateful for the community being able to step up and help us in this time.
Thank you. Now, Pastor Chope, I don't know if you saw, but we did put the link to the video in the chat, so people will have a chance to watch that about your Thanksgiving meals, which is important. And we're grateful that you play that role for members in our community, supporting around the holidays. And I'll put that out to all four of you. We are coming up there. March and April are months full of different holidays, many of which center around food. Do you sense or do you hear a lot of need coming specifically from your clients at this particular time of year or around holidays?
Thank you, Jennifer. Definitely. Around holiday, there is an increase in people that needs not only food, but that traditional food for such occasion. So, and that's why for Thanksgiving, we kind of created our program within our food chef activities to be able to provide Thanksgiving meal for people in our community. So, yeah, to answer your question, definitely, and we continue to look at how we can better serve our shoppers during the holidays. Thank you.
Thomas, I know when you were talking, you talked about Meals on Wheels 7 days a week, holidays as well.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. I know you just celebrated, I don't know if it's a national event or if it's an FSR celebration, but Meals on Wheels week. I saw a lot of people volunteering to serve Meals on Wheels. I was able to do that in the past, and I have to tell you, it's incredible. I mean, just the connection that you have and realizing that you might be someone's only connection outside of their individual home on that particular day. Some people want to chat, other people have their routines set and they want you to come in, bring the food and get on out. But really, what an incredible experience. And when you put that into perspective, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, quite an undertaking. So thank you to FSR for that. Truly, truly incredible.
And I would say, and I would add to the community that that's also, I mean, because of the wide community effort and the number of volunteers we have that provide that, we have organizations that help support that. We have different religious organizations that help support that. And it's a community effort. And so, yeah, I mean, that's gratitude to an incredible community to support that.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't say that the incredible work of Channel One, of FSR, of LifeGate, of Pamoja Women, like I said, is a piece of the puzzle. Many of you are involved with other clubs and organizations, houses of worship, faith-based groups that serve meals in our community. And again, those are all pieces of the puzzle. Dorothy Day has had volunteers that come in and cook and provide dinner for decades, 5 nights a week. Ronald McDonald House has volunteers that come in and cook meals. And I shouldn't have said any of them because I will forget some of them. And if I don't name them, it's not because they're not important. It's just because I can't remember them all. But I come back to the fact that, again, how we come together as a community, working in partnership, whether it's the Olmsted County Food Coalition, the work of so many different nonprofits. It's a puzzle, and the puzzle grows bigger every day. And I think the pieces get smaller. So thank you to each of you for your work in this space. Thank you for working together. That's something that we see over and over with our nonprofit partners, is truly a desire to work together to make our community as strong as it can be. So thank you for that. We will join each other together. Ellen put it in the chat. May 7th, we will focus on organizations in our community that provide mental health services in our community. Again, another huge need. And I'll close with a story. You can all guess where it comes from. But years ago, there was, Brooke mentioned the retail food rescue program at Channel One, and we had a driver that had gone around and was picking up from grocery stores on that particular day. And there was a mom in the food shelf with a 5-year-old. And they were having a rough day. It was just, if you've been around kids, some days are just rougher than others, right? And they were both having a rough day. And our driver had just come in, and he knew he had just put something in the refrigerated case. And he asked the mom, he pulled her aside and he said, can I give your child a treat? And she said, sure. So he went and he pulled out, and it was a birthday cake. And it said, happy birthday. And it was fully decorated. And he handed it to the little boy, and his face lit up like you wouldn't believe. He's, Mom, it's a birthday cake. And she got really quiet, and she kind of shuttled them out, and they moved out fast. And she called back a few hours later, and she said, I couldn't at the moment say anything because I would have started to cry, and I didn't want to cry anymore in front of my son. She said, but today is my son's 5th birthday, and we don't have any resources to be able to celebrate. And so I felt so bad about it that instead of doing anything to celebrate, I was just pushing it all down. And she said, so the fact that this cake just appeared was a sign. And she said, and I will do everything I can just to celebrate, my son and his birthday today. And thank you. And again, food is community, and it is how we celebrate together in so many ways. So thank you to these nonprofits who make that possible. Thank you to each of you for joining us, for learning more about how you can help. And again, hopefully someday we'll have all the pieces of the puzzle in place. But until then, we'll keep working hard to make sure that we do. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you hopefully on May 7th. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.